Dear students, this is a continuation of previous lecture on discussion of design of squirrel cage rotor. In part 1, we have discussed estimation of number of rotor slots, then what are the rules followed for selecting rotor slots, what should be the combination of stator and rotor slots to avoid synchronous cusp, magnetic locking, noise and vibrations. Then design of rotor bars and slot we have discussed how to obtain rotor bar current and area of rotor bars. Then we discussed shape and size of rotor slots. Okay. Then uh, regarding rotor slot insulation we discussed. Okay. In part 2, let us discuss design of end rings. Okay. So usually in case of squirrel cage rotor, whatever conductors are put in rotor slots, they are in the form of bar conductors. Okay. Then once conductors are put in the slot, whether those all rotor conductors which are in the bar form are kept open or they must be short circuited. See, you know the principle of motor. Whenever current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, definitely it experiences force. And because of that force, that rotor starts to rotate. Okay. And because of this reason only, bars of all squirrel cage rotor must be short circuited with some ring. Hence it is called end ring. Okay. At either end of rotor bars, some conducting uh, ring is put and it is called as end ring. And once all bars are short circuited, then it gives closed path for current flow. And once there is closed path for current flow, current begins to flow, and because of this rotor set into motion. Hence, after putting all the rotor bars in the slot, they must be short circuited using short circuiting end rings. Now let us discuss design of end rings. Okay. First we will focus on end ring current. Okay. The distribution of current in bars and end rings of squirrel cage motor is very complicated because depending upon position of rotor bar, whatever EMF is induced in the bar, okay, and depending upon resistance of end ring also, whatever sinusoidal variation in the EMF is there, that will get distorted in some of the cases depending upon resistance of the end ring. Okay, and here this figure shows developed cage winding under two pole pitches. Okay. The stator winding is a three-phase distributed winding and thus produces a revolving field. Okay. When three-phase supply is given to stator of induction motor, definitely because of distributed winding, there will be a revolving field. And this field will be considered as sinusoidal distributed field in space. And as the harmonics in most cases are small, they produce only secondary effects. Okay. So here whatever revolving field is there, definitely it will produce EMFs, but whatever EMF is produced due to that revolving field, it will be at fundamental frequency. Okay, and figure B shows magnitude of EMFs in the bars, and if bars are assumed to be infinitely distributed, the distribution of EMFs can be considered as sinusoidal in the bars over pitch, over one pole pitch. Because of that revolving field, whatever EMFs are induced at fundamental frequency, they produce EMFs. Okay, and whatever EMFs are produced in the bars, they circulate current. Okay, and here in this figure, see, because of that EMF induced in the bars, there is current flow in the bars also, and that current also flows through the end ring also. And if the resistance of end ring is negligible as compared with the bars, then resistance coming in each current path is resistance of two bars. This you can observe through this figure. Here current whatever closed path for current flow is there, that current flows through rotor bars as well as end ring. For one closed path of current, two bars will come in series. Okay, here let us take example here. See, when current which is flowing through this bar, that same current flows through another conductor which is placed in other slot. Okay, so because of this, resistance which comes in the path is resistance of two bars, resistance of two conductors. Okay, thus the current which the bars carry would proportional to their instantaneous EMFs, which in turn depend upon position of bars in the magnetic field. Because of current in the bar, whatever instantaneous EMF is induced, that depends upon position of bar in the magnetic field. Okay, thus the wave which represents the EMF would represent bar current also. Okay, nature of both EMF as well as current will be same, right? And this figure D shows wave representing currents in bars. See here, this figure shows this is current in bar, and this dotted line shows current in end rings. Okay, now let us say uh, at what position of rotor bar, and what happens to bar current and end ring currents. See, from the figure C, it is observed that at points where current is maximum in bars, current is zero in end rings, but the end ring current is maximum where the current in the bars is zero. So here this figure shows when current flows through bars, it will be maximum at this point, because of EMF induced, and because of higher magnitudes of induced EMF at this position of rotor bar, current in the bar is maximum corresponding to this point. But when current in the bar is maximum, what happens to current in the end ring? Current in the end ring is minimum when current in the bars are maximum. This is true because whatever current is flowing through this bar, when it reach end ring, this current gets divided into two parts. And you know, when equal amount of current is flowing through conductor, and when they flow in opposite direction. See here, for uh, making closed path of current flow, current which is flowing through bar, it gets diverted here at end ring. One path is in this side, and another path for current flow is this side. Current through bar is equal in magnitude, but when they flow in opposite direction, hence current in the end ring section is minimum corresponding to maximum value of current in the bar. Okay, hence when current is maximum in bar, then current in the end ring will be zero. Okay, the current in end ring is also sinusoidal, and its nature is as shown in this figure. Okay, thus see, it should be understood that the end ring resistance, if not negligible, will tend to distort the bar current distribution from being sinusoidal. So this is based on assumption that to have sinusoidal variation of currents in bar, end ring resistance is neglected, and once end ring resistance is neglected, then whatever current flows through bar and end rings, that follows sine law. Here, considering group of rotor bars under one pole pitch, one half would send current to an end ring in one direction and other half in the other direction. This you have this you have seen in this figure. Okay, one half is sending current in one direction and other half sends current in other directions. Okay, if the maximum value of current in each bar is say IB max, and if current is maximum in all bars at the same time, then maximum value of current in end ring is given by bars per pole divided by 2 into current per bar. Say, in case of squirrel cage induction motor, number of slots are equal to number of bars which are put in slots, they are same. Hence, bars per pole is taken as number of stator slots. Okay, SR divided by 2 into current per bar as IB max. See, however, current is not maximum in all the bars under one port at the same time, but they varies according to sine law. Okay, hence the maximum value of current in end ring is average of the current of half the bars under one port. See here, we cannot assume or we cannot consider current is maximum in all the bars at same time, because whatever EMF is induced, it is as per sinusoidal distribution. Hence, we have to take average of the current of half the bars under one pole. Okay, so based on this theory, maximum value of entering current is given as IE max equal to 2 by pi into SR by 2P into IB max. But as bar current varies sinusoidally, IB max equal to root 2 times IB. Okay, hence IE max equal to, here in place of IB max we can write root 2 times IB. And entering current also varies sinusoidally. Therefore, RMS value of entering current I equal to IE max divided by root 2. Okay, hence IE max is this value. Okay, 1 divided by root 2 into this value IE max, that will give RMS value of entering current as SR IB divided by pi phi. To calculate entering current, RMS value of entering current, we use this equation, that is I equal to SR IB by pi phi. Okay, then coming to area of end rings, the value of current density chosen for end ring should be such that the desired value of rotor resistance is obtained. You know, current density is very important, and that will decide rotor resistance, because current density is current per area, and once higher value of current densities are chosen, then higher value of current density is because of even small cross sectional area of conductor also. In that case, definitely resistance will change. Hence, whatever value of current density is chosen, that should give desired value of rotor resistance in the rotor circuit. Okay, and while choosing current density for end ring, as end rings are better ventilated compared to bars. Okay, hence higher value of current density can be chosen in end rings compared to rotor bars. Then how to calculate? What is the expression to calculate area of each end ring? You know, current density is current divided by area. Hence, area of end ring is equal to current in the end ring divided by its current density. See, as IE is SR IB divided by 5P, therefore, area of end ring can be written as A equal to SR IB divided by 5P. Here 1 divided by del A. Okay, A equal to SR IB divided by 5P into del A in mm square. Okay, here del A is current density in end rings. Then area of end ring is, area of end ring can be calculated mathematically using this equation. Once number of stator slots, current in each bar, number of poles and current densities are known, area can be calculated mathematically using this equation. But area of end ring can also be calculated using its depth of, using knowledge of its depth as well as thickness. Say here, as per this figure, whatever depth of end ring is there, that is D. This image shows this is the end ring. D is the depth of end ring and T is the thickness of end ring. Okay, then area of end ring is depth of end ring into thickness of end ring, hence A equal to D into T mm square. So uh, through mechanical dimensions of end ring also, area of end ring can be calculated, and area of end ring can be calculated using this equation once these values are known. Okay, so here you have seen how to calculate end ring current and area of end rings, right? In next video lecture I will discuss design of wound rotor, that is slip ring induction motor rotor. Thank you.